All right. Hi, Sakshi. A warm welcome to all the people on LinkedIn. I hope you guys are having a good day. We are back with the Amazing Entrepreneurs Volume 1, Episode 6. Amazing Entrepreneurs is a series of conversation where we try to bring in the front the hustle that goes behind building a startup or pursuing the journey of entrepreneurship. This is our way of celebrating entrepreneurs, entrepreneurship, and all the hard work that goes behind building companies, building brands. It is often glamorized. Startups are all usually shown to be having those success stories and all the glam that goes behind the PR coverage. But that glamour is very short lived. What goes behind achieving that glamour is a lot of hard work and a lot of hustle, and that's what we are trying to bring yeah, to the front. In this sixth episode, we have with us Sakshi Gupta of National Chemical Industries, and she is the chief operating officer who is spearheading a second generation entrepreneur in this manufacturing company, which is into manufacturing of inorganic chemicals. Sakshi, over to you. Let's start with the introduction of NCI and yourself.
Hi, thank you for having me here, Amrit. It's really great to have a conversation with you. My name is Sakshi Gupta, and I am a second generation entrepreneur. National Chemical Industries is manufactured inorganic chemicals. So the best way to explain it is, the chemical which is used in one of your toothpaste, for instance, or when you're using a laptop, then the polish that is there of the laptop, right? So one of my chemicals is used in that. So we manufacture inorganic chemicals since 1982. It was started by my father-in-law, and currently my husband and I are managing the business. We supply to many global companies around the world. In India, some of our companies are very esteemed, clients in their own industries, in pharmaceutical, veterinary, electroplating industry, paints industry. So really a wide range of industries that we serve and cater to. I am originally from Delhi. Then I did my MBA at Oxford, and I used to work in London with a consulting firm. So most of my career for about 10 to 12 years has been in consulting before I decided to give that up and join the business. And here I am talking to you.
So, the kind of lifestyle that you just spoke about, spending a good part of your life in these foreign countries, London, and, living a lifestyle of someone who's working with an MNC in consulting, and then coming to take this decision of switching your career and pursue entrepreneurship in a rather dry system of manufacturing into the chemical industry. What kind of mindset change did it require, and what was your motivation to do that?
So the biggest motivation was that in our family business there was a huge potential and value to unlock, right? And having worked with many businesses around the world and having been, having solved problems for many companies around the world, I felt that I could do the same for my business. And national chemical industries and for that matter, most of the traditional businesses, there is so much of value which has already been created for having been in the industry for so long. And I really wanted a chance to grow the business, and the I think the biggest thing is that when you have your own business, whatever work you do, it's directly benefiting the business, right? And you can see the hard sweat directly leading to results. And it is so satisfying. It gives so much of meaning to the work that you do. And it's no longer about having a work-life balance, or it's no longer about taking, about proving something to anybody. It's you really feel that there's so much of things you can do to take your business. So that was the biggest motivation to leave a corporate job. Of course, there is a lot of change in the way a business is run versus how things are done in the corporate world. I think the biggest mindset has been shift has been a to be more real about a lot of things. When we are in a corporate world, we live in in an environment where processes are set. There are certain way things are done. There is a certain facilities which is given to you, and usually you are looking after a particular function or you are doing a particular task. In a business, it's all together, right? Especially if you're managing a business or if you're running a business. You look at finance, you look at accounts, you look at procurement, you look at sales, you look at operations, right? And it's very real. The things, the people that we interact with, they have everyday problems that you have to solve. So you really have to get off a mindset where things are running smoothly on their own and things will do it. You do it everything on the ground up. So it's very basic for that matter.
So, speaking of our past sessions that we have had with entrepreneurs, the conversations have been around the entrepreneurial journey, and but also about building something. But in your case, this session today, the sixth episode, there's a different flavor to this because we are not talking about building from the scratch something, but it is talking about driving the business, spearheading the business from the current space you are at to altogether a newer level or a newer gamut where scalability is a point that we would love to hear from you. So talking about entrepreneurship for you, I think if it'll be great if you can highlight what are your thoughts when it comes for you when we are talking about entrepreneurship. What do you think of, instead of building something from the scratch in your business, you are looking at scaling up or taking the business to newer heights. A few words on that.
So, yes, absolutely very relevant thought. There are two things I'd like to highlight here. One is when you are stepping into a business which is already established, or there is a certain foundation which is given to you, and it is an honor and it is a privilege to be given that mantle, right? Because a lot of things in the business is already set up, and I'm grateful, and I'm sure everybody who's in that space would feel that it is quite an asset to work with because a lot of things are given to you. You are the businesses have an established name, the product, etc. And at the same time, when we are trying to grow the business, there is a certain mindset which is required to scale it up, to make it professional, to go into different avenues, etc. Right? That requires an entrepreneurial spirit because you're not just set with what you have achieved or what you have got. Right? You are intent on building something new, and there is a foundation which has been given to you on which you build. Right? So there is duality which comes to it. One is you are appreciating and honoring and working on the values which the business already has, and at the same time trying to inject enthusiasm, trying to take it into a new direction, or if you are going further ahead, scaling up in there. So yeah, I think it's not easy either way, whether you're establishing a new business or you're taking the business to a greater height.
Yeah, because starting a business from the scratch has its known set of problems and challenges, but taking the reins over and trying to inject that kind of fresh blood into the business, the aggression or the motivation for the entire team to drive the business to a new level when you are already in that comfort zone of having good operations, good business which is already around. It has its own set of challenges, and I'm sure that our viewers are going to get good perspectives. Tell me about this is something personally that I want to know from you, that is it difficult to put across your perspectives, which are relatively fresher and newer in an organization which has been operating successfully, rather, in the industry, in the market. Is it difficult for you to bring that change in the business that is required and that is desired by the team, and how do you approach that?
Um, so two things to it. First is the order. When you try and change things or you put a perspective, I feel it's actually an asset when you come from that perspective because you're able to understand things from the ground up. And when you question, how things are done, or when you try and bring a new perspective, even the way things people have been doing, they start to understand it better, right? So it is always good to come with a fresh perspective and understand how things are done and how things could be improved. The second aspect is how people around you are there. So I always say that in any business, the biggest thing, whether it's the people who are managing the business, it's the people who are involved in the operations of the business, right? What kind of attitude and mindset that they come from. Uh, Personally speaking, I've been very grateful that in general, the entire team has been very receptive and has been open to it. Two things help. One is to get new blood in the business, is to get hire new people. So then there is a mix of old and new, and everybody comes with a fresh perspective and this thing. And second is when they start to see the value of what change is bringing, then there is a greater acceptance. So it's the small wins which help. Like initially, and that's something which I really started appreciating after I joined the businesses, that having small wins, celebrating it, appreciating it, is as tantamount, as important as having the big wins. So it could be as something as solving a small problem in manufacturing, where we have a lot of operational issues, for example, whether it's a machine breakdown or something, right? So it could be as satisfying as solving that, or it could be as big as winning a new client, right, or launching a new product. So when people start to see how things are changing and how it is benefiting the business and themselves, then there is a greater acceptability. So absolutely build on that. Absolutely embrace it in a business as opposed to when I was in a corporate setting. There is never a day which doesn't have its ups and downs. There are never days where there's no challenges to solve, or there are problems, or there's things are bursting at seams. And at the same time, there will be days where everything is great. There's been a real, win, and feel so satisfied. So it's important to embrace both and having a mindset which you are able to be with, both.
Correct, correct. I think that's the key, and very well said. It is all about the mindset and the culture that you set up. If it's about building something up, or maybe inculcating a new culture of a progressive mindset or a progressive team in your organization, and if you need to push uh, the concept of modern approach in business, it is a matter of mindset and how you set the culture of making people embrace things. It is rather a difficult thing to do. It's not something which has a formula. It is while we can say that it is science to do that, it is also definitely an art to sail through this. So it's been a great conversation till now. I want our viewers to get more insights about talking about being a second generation entrepreneur in a company, which definitely is an asset, but comes with its own. The journey comes with its own challenges. What is the best thing about being in this position, and what is we have spoken of challenges, so rather I would ask you, what is the best thing for you being in this space?
I think the best thing is that when you see your business grow, when you see people who are working with you grow, when you see people deriving value, so it's really satisfying. Like there are employees in our company whose salary have, for example, have increased twice in the last 3 years, right? So they have grown with the business. Then there are, we have grown as a business, right? So the best thing about entrepreneurs is that when you know that each and every task that you do, each and every effort you do has resulted in the business, growing, people around you grow. That gives me a lot of joy. It gives me a lot of satisfaction. And the challenges, well, there are a lot of challenges in order to grow the business, right? Which are everyday problems like operations area, or getting things in place and learning new stuff. So that's everyday.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Talk now. This is something that we touch upon in all our sessions, and for you as well, I would want to have a conversation around about women in leadership role in your organization. You along with your partners are spearheading. Rather, if I can say, the organization to a newer level. Being a woman, it is never easy. for an entrepreneur it's never easy, more so for women, when you have to women have their set of challenges, being managing the personal front or the professional front, and stereotypical mindsets in the workplace. So what has your journey been like, being a woman in the leadership position?
So I'm very grateful that I'm here today to be able to speak to you. And there are there are three things that I feel are absolutely essential for a woman in any managerial position. One is having a great support system. So very important, and one of the most important aspect for every woman is to have a great support system, whether it's in family or in other help around home or work, right? So having a great support system who can work around your schedule and help you manage all the aspects of your life is very important, right? I wouldn't be here today if it was not for the support of my family and both sets of parents and other family. So having a great support system is very important. Second thing is, especially for a woman, is to is to be able to speak up. Being in, especially in a traditional environment with a manufacturing setup, it's very easy to, it's very easy to be, is to feel not speak up, not speak your voice, not speak your opinions, or if somebody else is, has a more authoritarian views to, to get your personality be overshadowed. I think it's very important to, for any person in any, any setting, is to be able to voice their opinion and to be confident and speak up. I know many women, and I've mentored some of them in, in speaking up, especially with their bosses or with their superiors. So very critical. And the third thing is that is having a flexibility in your schedule is really helpful. I think as somebody who has responsibilities at all fronts, it's great to have a flexibility, and that's what really drives us. So specifically from a woman, I think those three things.
Superb, superb, amazing insights, and I am sure that these are pieces of such pieces of wisdom, which is going to be helpful for the women out there who are thinking of starting up or are in the leadership position, who are facing their set of challenges. Uh, thank you for that wisdom. It's true that even in most of the businesses, be it highly organized ones or unorganized ones, startups where there's so much of chaos. Burnout as a concept is very much being spoken about today. What kind of experience you have had with burnout, and how do you manage it?
For me, burnout has not been so relevant in the sense that I'm managing a business, I'm building a business, right? And it is an everyday affair. We work when you're a business person. We work 7 days a week, 24 hours. Like in the sense that you're always thinking about the business or you're always tuned in. It's difficult to switch off. It is difficult to be not there because it is your business at the end of the day and you are involved in it, and at the same time you have to think through about your mental health, and you have to think about which point is important. I think very important is in any having a sustained having a sustained business and working environment is to be is to not get bogged down. I think burnout happens when we get affected a lot emotionally, or when we try and do a lot. It's important to have that balance, and for every person, that's different, right? For example, for me, I know that I work a certain number of hours, and after that time, I'm drained out, right? So it's important to know where your limits are, and it's important to know having a balance so that you can be there for a long time.
Correct, correct. Uh, what happens is, in the journey of entrepreneurship, often entrepreneurs tend to go by the philosophy of you know give it all, whatever you have, but then eventually comes a point where it takes a toll, and eventually comes also a point which impacts the business, because ultimately when you are driving something or spearheading something, and if you are not in the best of your state, the business is bound to suffer. So, rightly said, you need to understand what are your limits and work in a more sustainable way, which is good for yourself and also for the business that you're running. Because ultimately it's your baby. Long term perspectives देखना ज़्यादा important है rather than having immediate results, because people are very impatient nowadays. All right. Uh, Goal setting is one of the key areas when it comes to entrepreneurs. So, how do you exercise goal setting?
So it's very tangible. So in our business, we have set goals for our business to grow, right? So there are goals, there are business goals that we have right at the top. And then there are goals for each and every team, right? And it's all linked to the broader business goal. So as a business, everyone is aware of what we are trying to achieve from from a business standpoint, from a financial metric point of time, financial metric, and all the goals for each and every team member is linked to that. Second is for each and every function in the business, right? We have set as monthly targets, monthly indicators that they go by, and this is not just numbers in terms of the efficiencies, right? This could be related to the operations, it could be related to that person specifically who are managing that, or it could be an indicator that we do. So very important, and it's having tangible goals is also very easy for people to understand. So when we do goal setting, it happens in a very collaborative manner. So while at the business level, it could be done by the senior leadership of the team. At each and every function level, it is the goals are set with the team, and those goals are reviewed on quarterly basis, and then that's how we do it. And I found this to be a very helpful exercise to get people tangible targets that they have to achieve, for them to evaluate themselves and for them to achieve those targets.
Very well said, Sakshi. There are two approaches. Either you set the goal at the top level and enforce it through your organization, through your teams, and another way is how you just suggested that make goal setting a more of a collaborative approach where people are a part of goal goal setting exercise, wherein the goals are rather more realistic, the goals are more achievable, and people, the team basically that we are talking about, is taking the ownership of the commitments that they have set for themselves within the organization. It's a really good way of looking at goal setting as an exercise in an organization, and collaborative way. Thank you. It's a very good perspective that we are able to give to our audience today. All right, a few light-hearted questions, coming your way. Are you a morning person or a night person?
Definitely a morning person. I am drained out by night, and then at that point, it's all the best ideas are coming in the morning.
Yes, yes. What kind of books do you read, and would you recommend any books for our budding entrepreneurs?
Yes, I'm a voracious reader, so I love reading. And I would happily recommend two of my favorite all-time books. Right, one is there is a book by Sheryl Sandberg. It's called Lean In. Right, and I think that was one of the books which really changed my thinking, because as a woman, especially in the corporate and sometimes in an aggressive environment, her perspective really helped in understanding how a woman should balance everything, and how how leadership should work. So
I think your voice cracked. The audience were not able to hear the name of the book.
Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg.
Lean In, yes.
Very popular book, especially about women and leadership. I think that's a very pertinent book for for women, and I have recommended and gifted that book to many people around around the world. And I really feel everybody should read it, especially and both men and women, and not just females. It's not a feminine centric. It's a book relevant for everyone. So men should read it for their daughters and for their women colleagues. So that's one book. And the second book that I really recommend is a book by Peter Thiel. It's called 0 to 1. It's about startups. It's about entrepreneurship, and it's about mindset. And a very very easy book to read. very relevant, and so I really enjoyed that book, and I felt that everybody should, should have a read through breezy book, just to get a perspective on how you should do it. And oh wait, I have one more recommendation.
Yeah.
uh,
Yes.
and that's 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 a book called A Man's Search for Meaning. It's a book on a survivor of Holocaust, and uh, it's the person has written about his experience and about what he has learned from life, and it's not sad at all. Like, of course, these the facts of the case are that, but it's so in depth, and how he's written about life and about appreciating life. So I actually find it a very hopeful book. So that's one recommendation.
Wow, superb. I'm sure people are excited and they're going to check out these books. We'll mention the names later on in the comments. Um, 3 apps that you use that help you to be in the top of your game.
So one of the most, LinkedIn, I feel, is a really good app. And especially for professional connectivity, business connectivity, I use LinkedIn a lot. I use it to search, to hire people. We posted vacancies there, and this is not a paid advertisement for LinkedIn. It's just one of the apps that I use a lot. I use it for listening to talks and for companies following it. So one app that I use a lot, LinkedIn. Second app that I use a lot is Big Basket. And being the person who's always in the mood, online delivery is really most important. So very very two basic apps that I use.
Okay, superb. So, talking about running the business and running the show, um, marketing is one of the key areas that businesses need to focus. And in fact, while the journey of speaking to entrepreneurs and business owners, we often come across ambiguity in the minds of entrepreneurs about how do they, what should come first? The marketing should come first, or the sales should come first, and how do we look at digital marketing? What kind of strategy should fit? So, how do you approach? Because where I'm coming from is looking at your business from a more traditional perspective, A, manufacturing sector, B, in the chemical manufacturing space, and that to a legacy business. So how do you look at digital marketing for your business, and what's your approach?
In today's world, it is absolutely essential for our business to be online. It is absolutely essential for each company to be discoverable online, right? And there are two things to it. One is in this is a discovery platform also. So many companies, many clients use online as a way to discover companies. Information is only available online, and we use the digital world a lot for many purposes. So it's absolutely essential for our business to be online, to be there. Digital marketing is even more important for us, because that's what will help us get more business, right? Get recruit more people, or get establish a presence for us in the market. So National Chemical Industries is has this year, for example, is one of the this is one of the greatest focus. So this is going to be one big push from us to be more prevalent online. While we have presence on different platforms on the internet, making a push through that, and developing those channels further is one of the biggest priorities for us is this year.
One of the points that you just spoke about is a different perspective from our conversations that I have been having with entrepreneurs. Whenever we speak of digital marketing, it is often perceived from the perspective of how can business benefit from digital marketing in terms of contributing to the top line and increasing the revenue or getting more business or leads. But there's a slightly different perspective that you brought in over here, is to hiring people and creating that the image or the positioning of the organization on the internet, because that is something that helps you build the task force or the team that you're looking to build. And वो कहते हैं ultimately कि जैसी आपकी टीम होगी, जितनी स्ट्रांग आपकी टीम होगी, उतना ही सक्सेसफुल बिजनेस होगा. एंड इट्स नॉट ओनली फॉर generation of new business, but in order to run businesses, the presence on the internet, be it from the profiling perspective, or building the corporate image of the organization, digital marketing is something that plays a very crucial role, even if it is a manufacturing sector brand, or a brand coming from the chemical space. Excellent. Talking of team building, you have a huge team, and you guys have been in the market for a long time. What kind of team building exercise you do on the qualitative terms? I wish to your perspective as to managing those 50 people, 100 people, 200 people, whatever size you have. How do you manage those teams? Pandemic was a part of the recent journey. How did you guys approach team management?
So one is for us during pandemic we were operational, and being in manufacturing, we all the people were on the platform. They were on the ground. So two aspects to team building. One is having a structure, having an organization with proper defined teams, and having a team leader, and having a clear way of how things operate. So that's very important, and we try and give that in the organization. From a qualitative aspect, I think very important, especially in our businesses, that we try and be absolutely informal. Like it's not a formal hierarchy, or it's not a formal structure, or there is a there is a certain way to do things. We try and be approachable. All of us in the senior management, and all of us who are running the business, or even people who are on the ground. It's a more friendly environment. Everybody is approachable, and I think what really helps is to have a common purpose driving us all. So each and every person is working together to solve a problem, or grow the business, or to achieve the task. So that helps in building our camaraderie. In addition to that, we try and have a lot of team outings, do fun stuff together, and whether it's bonding over food, which I think is really important, or to go out and play sports together, right? So we try and do those things which are outside work, which helps in just blowing up the steam a bit, just helps to make it a little fun place. So, but I think it's it's always an ever growing area. It's there is more we can do there. I think the more we work together as a team, the more we do for each and every one. I think it's less. So
Correct. And it's not only relevant, this point that we're talking about right now, it's not only relevant from the perspective of organizations which have been in the market for long and have a considerable size of teams, but even for startups who are just getting started, being in the first year, ultimately, a people skill that the people skill that an organization needs in terms of managing their teams. I think you can have an opinion over here, Sakshi. This is something that should be in place right from the beginning, because we are dealing with people, and if we don't have to wait for building up that size of a group or a team in order to have such elements in place of helping the team engage with each other. I think it should be a culture right from the beginning. What do you think?
absolutely. What happens is when you are, and I face it, when you are running a business, or when you're creating a business, right? There are lots of things which so many tasks which has to be done in order to get the business, right? So everybody is always, especially in the early days of the business, everybody is all involved in that, right? There are jobs to be done, there are tasks to be done. अरे ये काम रह गया, वो रह गया, ये करना है, वो करना है. Right? So everybody becomes very busy with the work. And as organizations grow and there are more structures in place, then people, generally these things become better managed, right? So what happens is when there's so much of work involved, that focusing on the humane aspect of the work, building the team, getting everyone together becomes a lesser priority. What I would like to say is that that is, at that very point, it is even more a bigger priority, right? To like I mentioned, thinking about how people can bond together, how people should work together, and building great productive teams. It's even becomes even more important from the day one, right? And again, very important, and this is for each and every business to identify what are the impediments to that in their own business, right? For example, I realized in one of the in one of the structures that I was the impediment because everybody was coming to me to seek approval, right? And I had to remove myself as an impediment, right? And they should interact with each other and not to me, right? So it's for the benefit of the team, it's for the benefit. So understanding and recognizing how the teams should bond, how the team should work together, it's important for each and every person and the business themselves.
Correct, absolutely. All right, heading towards concluding today's session, a couple of things that I would like from you is uh, what kind of mindset you have had when you embarked upon this journey of entrepreneurship in the family business. Uh, being a part of the SME business space and looking to compete with huge competitors, chemical manufacturers in the manufacturing space. What kind of mindset does it need, and how are you, having that approach?
Uh, So it can feel a really daunting to be in an industry where there are already established companies with the massive financial backing behind them, or to or to compete with them head to head on certain aspects. Right? It can be daunting. However, I feel there is always a scale, there is always space for someone in the industry. And the mindset is to just deliver the value from your business if you think it's the right business, it's the right value, right? And people see that, clients see that. Otherwise, they won't be coming to you, right? And also, I read this in one of the books, some time back, is to identify the areas where the other companies are not operating in. So, for example, like the big, in our industry, some of the established players, they have a set, certain way, set product that they are, they're providing. Uh, Being a small business, we are able to make it more customizable to the client, right? We're able to have the chemical quality, which is specifications with the client requires, right? So in any industry, whether there are established players or not, it doesn't matter. I think it's to identify what your USP is or what you could offer, which the others are not operating. And there is really space for everyone in the market. And that's what it is. You're not shrinking the pie, you're growing the pie, right? So it's to identify and being absolutely comfortable with what you can deliver and where you are adding value versus anybody established there.
Perfect. Value creation has to be in the forefront. And I think when you go ahead with the value creation that you are trying to offer in front of your competitors, which are huge, I think the market is inclusive. They do allow even players who have just started or maybe are not of that huge size, but then uh, उसके अपने benefits होते हैं. There are being a small business, you have a bunch of benefits that you can use as an edge over all the other huge players in the market. And this is not only from the perspective of a manufacturing or from the chemical industry sector that I want to make a point with the help of what Sakshi just said for our audience. It is about how to look at competition, how to have an approach when you are just starting up. When you are starting up, you are going to be small. You are going to be frugal, but then there are going to be strong areas or your strengths which you can leverage as your advantage in front of the existing players, bigger players in the market, and you will always have your pie of the cake because the market is open for everyone.
Correct. Absolutely. Very well said.
Yeah. All right. So to conclude today's session, I would like three learnings from you. But that is the second thing that I want you to touch upon. The first thing is if you can just highlight, we have a culture of encouraging people to talk about challenges because what happens is the journey of entrepreneurship is a little lonely. It is not that we are not surrounded by people, but you don't get enough chances to speak about your challenges in forums or in front of right people. So I want you to highlight a couple of challenges or three challenges maybe that you are currently facing as an entrepreneur. And then come on, what are the learnings that you have had in your journey of entrepreneurship with which we can just wrap up this session today.
Very difficult question. Well, I think one of the challenges which I have is understanding how much the work that I can take on versus how much I should delegate. I think, I think that's personally speaking one of the biggest challenges because you tend to take everything on yourself, and then in the list of priorities, it gets defeated. It gets lower and lower. So delegation and understanding and managing is really a challenge.
Excellent.
And I have to do. Um, the second, uh, the second challenge in the business is to is to how to make sure that the operations, the day-to-day operations, are running absolutely fine, and how do you step away from it so that you can focus on the other avenues for the business. So what happens is that one gets so involved in the day-to-day operations of the business about what is happening, making sure that the task is done, that it is difficult to step away from it. And it's only when you step away from the day-to-day task that you can think through as to what you want to do for the business, what are the things that are the big picture things which you are missing, right? So again, a challenging task because there are so much going on in your everyday business and to interact with your teams that you need to have that mind space to think about other things which needs to be done, which nobody else would be looking at because that's a big, that's a 360-degree view. So stepping away from the day-to-day task, and that's something which I started to do now. A lot of things I just said, I tell my team, just discuss with me, just don't tell whatever you do, so that my mind is a little free to think about it.
Yes.
So I think that's the second biggest challenge. It's still a challenge. Still learning to deal with it.
It's an ongoing thing. Yes.
Yeah, ongoing thing. And the third challenge I think is to really build a great team. It's I have said this earlier and I will say it again. People is the biggest strength. I'm really blessed to have this kind of people who come and work at national chemical industries. We are looking for more people. We are looking to build a team, right? So it's a challenge to build a team. It's a challenge to make them work with each other, make sure that they are productive, they're doing everything, their best, right? So it's to give them an environment where they can do their magic, right? We don't need to do anything. We're hiring great people because they can do their thing, right?
Yes.
So the third challenge is that I think, and I don't think that challenge is ever going to end. I think for a business that all the time happening.
Yes, yes. Yeah, challenges are always going to be there, and the art, or I don't know if it is, uh, there's a formula to it, but the practicing the thing of delegating the stuff to the people and trying to focus on more vital areas of the business. It's something that, as an entrepreneur, it has to set in as a practice. It's a daily conscious effort that you need to you need to make, moving yourself from someone who micromanages things to a person who has eventually some as a eventually who has some as a second person in command, a second in command who could actually take over your role and have you know those things taken care so that you can really focus on the other. It's a practice that has to set in, and ये ऐसा है कि वो चलता रहता है learning curve and you are trying to master it perpetually. All
Yeah,
right. Yeah, yeah, please.
and to answer the second part of your question, the learning directly tied to the challenges. I think one of the biggest learning is to get the right people in your business, is to step back so that they can do their work, right? And so that's one of the biggest learning is to get the right people in, is to pay for the talent, is to give them the space and the opportunities for the team to work together. I think very, very important, especially as an entrepreneur, attracting the right talent, training them, that's really important. So that's one. Second is to is to think about business as a more long-term task, right? So is to have sustainable goals, sustainable work-life balance, is to not be in a hurry to achieve success, and at the same time not be complacent at all. So having that balance wherein you're able to manage your own, mindset, you're able to manage the business, you're able to manage your entire work life, family, everything is very important. So I think balance is the key. And getting the right people, learning that I have had. One of my favorite quotations is that I say this to everybody is, persistency and consistency are very underrated values. You have to be persistent, you have to be consistent. They are really underrated, and they, I feel, is what would attribute to success in a large degree. So
Awesome, awesome, Sakshi. I really had a good conversation with you, and I'm sure there's a lot of value add that has happened in this live session to all the people who have joined us today. We are going to pick up some quotes, interesting ones, and we are going to share it in bits and pieces across all our social media platforms that ensures that we push forward this inspiration to a lot more people in different formats because cross learning is something that we believe is not happening enough in this ecosystem. You are great at 10 things, someone else is great at another 10 things. People want to help each other, but there is no way people can actually come and create that value to each other. So through this initiative, amazing entrepreneurs celebrating entrepreneurship, and also facilitating value creation for each other through such interviews and sessions is what something that we are trying to do. And this was a great session, Sakshi. Thank you so much for coming on board with us for this. A lot more sessions are lined up. Uh, uh, Stay tuned, guys, on our official LinkedIn page for further updates and further sessions. We would like to sign off over here. Any closing statements, Sakshi, before we close down?
I think just one thing, just be at it, be hungry. And as Steve Jobs used to say, stay hungry, just be at it. That's really important.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Sakshi. We would, really be glad to connect with you offline.
Thank you. Bye.